I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got count them, two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows.
In this video, Matt Walsh covers the cancellation of Joy Reid's show on MSNBC. Matt Walsh plays a clip of Rachel Maddow reacting to the news that her bestie got the boot, and of course, calling it a racist decision. With that, let's watch Matt Walsh sit bewildered at the level of cope he's hearing from Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow.
Yesterday, we talked about the tragic passing of Joy Reid's show on MSNBC, and I explained why I'm personally heartbroken by the news, mainly because we now lose all the content that her show provided to lazy right-wing podcasters like myself. And but we now have Joy's reaction to this news, which we didn't have yesterday when we talked about it. And it is everything that you would expect and hope for, minus the smoke detector beeping. Here it is.
My show had value, and that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And that it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was...
You know, Matt Walsh was right. I guess I do have a love-hate relationship with Joy Reid, only in the sense that obviously I don't like her for so many reasons. I don't even need to lay them out for you. But with her on the air, there is never a shortage of clips to go over for you guys. So I will miss her show for that single reason. But either fortunately or unfortunately, I think she's going to pop up like a cockroach somewhere else. My understanding is she's begging people to like follow her on X or Instagram or whatever. So that signals to me that she's going to land somewhere, probably in the online commentary world like X or YouTube. And it'll just be really funny to see her have to compete and let the market decide whether her show has value or not. And what's she crying about? She should be rejoicing. She worked there at MSNBC for almost 9 years. Never was she at the top of the ratings. Her ratings were always struggling. She made millions and millions of dollars, and she got to disseminate what she loves most: lies, hate, and divisiveness. You couldn't ask for a better situation. And if your show is so valuable, I'd imagine someone's going to want to pay you millions and millions of dollars to go somewhere else, unless, of course, you're lying or delusional like usual, and your show doesn't have value, and no one besides MSNBC is insane enough to pay you that kind of money for your garbage ratings. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
The Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted, and not just Black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life and defended them, or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about God.
That's enough. She says, well, I talked about Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter issue of a young baby, or no. Then she quickly moves on to, or a mother, because that's actually the one you specifically don't talk about, the fact that the life of a baby matters. That's the one. That's actually the one category of person, Joy, that you leave out. Is that. But anyway, she's devastated. She's crying on camera, no dignity, no sense of decorum or self-respect. And in case anyone out there would make the mistake of feeling any pity for this woman, remember that she mocked many times what she calls white tears.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
She has a total contempt for white people, in particular white women who cry. She talks about white tears. So I guess these are, I mean, using her sort of phrasing, her terminology, these are Joy Reid's black tears. Is that how we? Can I say that I'm tired of Joy Reid's black tears? Am I allowed to say that? That only goes one way, of course, right? But even aside from Joy's racism and hypocrisy and the double standards and all that, it's just gross and pathetic to cry like this. I mean, it's one thing to cry publicly over some tragedy, some national tragedy that's befallen the nation, but to cry over your show getting canceled is disgusting. It's grotesque. And speaking of grotesque and pathetic people, Rachel Maddow took to the air on Monday night on her own show to call out her network for racism, for firing Joy Reid. Listen.
An even bigger programming change is at 7 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern, where Joy Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12. And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that, but that's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is.
Why is that even worth bringing up, that there are only two non-white hosts of shows? MSNBC is the most far-left, progressive, whacked-out news organization, if you want to call them that, on the planet. And Rachel, you sound like a moron, because I don't know how I knew this before you did, but Joy Reid is being replaced with a panel show where two of the members of the panel are black. So how is that concerning to you? Are you suggesting that your network is racist? And if so, you have a lot of money, you're comfortable. Why don't you boycott the network until they've hired the correct number of non-white hosts for your channel? That would be a real show of strength, wouldn't it? I doubt you'll do that, though. And to answer Matt Walsh's question, yeah, Joy Reid did often like to talk about white woman tears or white tears. And the answer to his question is absolutely not. You cannot say black tears. It does not go back both ways. Honestly, the term white tears or black tears literally means nothing. But I guarantee if a host on TV were to use the term black tears, there would be a crazy uproar. MSNBC as a whole, Joy Reid, Rachel Maddow, all of them. If they didn't have double standards, they wouldn't have any at all. Anyway, let's wrap up the video.
Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it.
So it's unnerving, she says, unnerving. It's unnerving and indefensible to fire a non-white host. I guess if you have a non-white host, you just are obligated to keep them on the air indefinitely, no matter how far their ratings sink, which of course is, so all you're doing is hurting the cause of non-white TV hosts, because then the lesson you learn from that, if your TV network is like, well, we better not hire any non-white people to host any shows because we're not allowed to fire them ever. And when it comes to ratings, by the way, Joy's ratings were really bad. I mean, like just in the key demographic.
Yeah, Matt, it's indefensible. But that is interesting that Matt said you might as well not hire non-white hosts because you can never fire them. Now, I don't know on what basis Joy Reid was hired, but I can tell you 99% of other hosts of shows that had her ratings for as long as they did, and they were as abysmal as hers, would have been let go a long time ago. So I definitely think she benefited from MSNBC's fear of not being, quote unquote, representative enough of non-white hosts. Because I'm sorry, they could have put someone in her time slot a long time ago and had much, much more success with a different show. Which then makes you ask, does MSNBC even care about making money? I mean, I thought they're a business. Don't they have shareholders? Like, how do you justify that to shareholders? We've got this garbage show that never does well, and we're going to keep it there forever and ever. Did anyone put their hand up and say, can we put something else in place of that show that actually would make us some money? But we want to hear from you. What do you think about Rachel Maddow's comments on Joy Reid's show being canceled? And do you, like Rachel Maddow, think it's all attributed to racism? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.